Shalom, shalom. All right. Call Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Barakakadash. Shalom, peace and blessings to the elect of Israel, to the elect of God that are upon the four corners of the earth, all over wherever they be. Shalom, peace and blessings to the men pushing this word, starting from my church unto the ends of the earth. Honor to the elders of Israel, which are in GMS, who've been doing this for a long time. And I'm getting into this. The plot armor of the elect of God. I had this in my notes to do for a minute, and then it was sparked to be done today by my brother Padah, his channel. Are you built for your house, Shai? Are you built for your house, Shai? He dropped a lesson today, touching on this, practically same thing, if you will, called it was oh wow, let me get it. What's the title? Listen up, the game is rigged. The win is decided. You just gotta play your role. So that was the title. Yeah. Just watching anime, watching movies and different shows, you realize how important plot armor is for for the story to be what it's written out to be. The Lord, Yahweh, has his whole thing scripted already. Everything is already scripted and written out. Just like in the shows that you watch, you know, the main character and main characters, they do not die. They always somehow they make it out. Somehow they don't die. They make it out of the situation that they're not supposed to make it out of. And that's all due to plot armor. Which is orchestrated by the writer. As Elder's been saying and Brother's been saying for a long time, you know, this is a movie. The Lord's movie, the Lord's script. He's the ultimate director. So plot armor says used to refer to the phenomenon in fiction whereby the main character is allowed to survive dangerous situations because they are needed for the plot to continue. It says character shields, also known as plot armor or plot shield, are plot devices in films and television shows that prevent important characters, like the elect of God, from dying or being seriously injured at dramatically inconvenient moments. It often denotes a situation in which it strains credibility to believe that the character would survive. So everyone knows what plot armor is. They, have watched shows and movies before. So we got some scriptures on this, and that'll be it to the point. The elect has plot armor. If you are of the elect, you have plot armor. Like the brother made in his lesson, the game is rigged for us to win. Whoever the elect may be, the elect of God. So these are some scriptures that came to mind. Like Paul, in this situation, he had plot armor because it wasn't written for him to be locked up, at this point in time. It wasn't written for that to be. Acts 16, this is when he was locked up. Let me get to the point. Acts 16:25. He's locked up at this point. And this one was broken out. It says Acts 16:25, and at midnight Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto God, and the prisoners heard them. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken. And immediately all the doors were opened, and everyone's bands were loosed. And the keeper of the prison, awaking out of his sleep, and seeing the prison doors open, he drew out his sword and would have killed himself, supposing that the prisoners had been fled. But Paul cried out with a loud voice, saying, Do thyself no harm, for we are all here. Then he called for a light and sprang in and came trembling and fell down before Paul and Silas and brought them out and said, Sirs, what must I do to be saved? So an account of one of the elect of God uh, having plot armor showed against him. Another one came to mind. Um, I always forget their names, but the brothers that was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I believe that's correct. They was in a fire and they didn't die. They didn't get burned. David was thrown in the lion's den. Nothing happened. Plot armor. Everything is going to work in our favor. The the elect's favor. That they won't die, if you will, until the point of time, and they're gonna finish the story. Continue. 1 Corinthians 10:13. It says, There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. Because I watch anime, so I see a lot of it shows a lot of plot armor, basically, in anime, and really a lot of shows and movies, all of them. And early in the show, they they don't have the main character die. He happens to go a certain way to where he didn't meet someone who would have killed him. He fought someone that he could just beat, barely, every time. He's put into a position to where he can just win by just enough. And the point I got this one is it's coming up. It says, Who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able? Because you got to continue on. It's part of the story for the elect to win. It says, But will with the temptation, is the point, also make a way to escape. See, the Lord, the writer, the director also make a way to escape. So if you an elect and you in a jam and don't seem like it's no way to get out, that plot armor gonna come in and something is just gonna happen, like in the shows, that I keep referencing. Something that just absolutely crazy that don't even really make sense happens, and the main character just happens to be saved. Someone that's completely irrelevant to the story, he does something that interferes with the main character, and now he's saved. Just stuff like that. Because the Lord is going to orchestrate things to make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God and to them who are called according to his purpose. All things work together for good. And it continues, says, For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. And this reminds me, like relating this scripture, verse 29, to the whole thing of plot armor, how in certain shows like anime, I'm gonna use Naruto for an example. Ever since he was a kid, he'll say the same thing. He say, I'm gonna be Hokage one day. I'm gonna be Hokage one day. And it's already written in his story for that to be the case. And I liken that to this as far as like the image of his son. our goal, like the elect, a lot of the elect right now, they're hoping to be saved. That's what they're proclaiming. I'm an elect. I'm an hopeful elect. That's what they're envisioning for themselves, being beamed up. That's what they're professing for themselves, to be saved. And in their story, it's going to come true. They're going to be preserved. They're going to end up enduring because that plot armor is going to get them through any situation that comes their way. And being conformed to the image of His Son, that's being the elect. That's well, this is talking about the elect being predestinated to be the image of His Son, perfect like Yahweh Shai. Moreover, whom He did predestinate, them He also called, and whom He called, them He also justified, and whom He justified, them He also glorified. Wisdom of Solomon 3:1. But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of God, and there shall no torment touch them. It says, who can pluck anybody out of the Lord's hand? Nobody. That plot armor says, in the sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and their departure is taken for misery. And they're going from us to be utter destruction, but they are in peace. For though they may be punished in the sight of men, yet is their hope full of immortality. And it's that verse number 2. In the sight of men, the unwise, in the sight of the unwise, they seem to die. And that, reminds me of like, how the characters, they die and then come back to life. So they didn't really die. Like the elect. They died, but they're gonna come back. They seem to die, but they're gonna come back. Men in this truth right now, some passing away, they're the elect. They seem to die because they're gonna come back. Like Yahushua, he came back. He died and he came back. Because he has plot armor. He has protection. That plot armor, that's that protection from the Lord. How they in the show they show the character lying dead, and then his fingers start moving. He take a big gasp of breath, or he pop back in the scene. You know how it go. Romans 9:15. For he said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy. So the Lord is selective. He picks and chooses who will get his protection, who will get the plot armor of the Lord. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So that's the point. Straight to the point. The elect of God has plot armor. So I'm gonna close it out. Shalom, Kala, and Habashim Yasha.